Chapter 61 appeared at the same time, with more than one disc. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As a weapons dealer, Tony Stark knows some people are just plain awful. Give them power, especially powerful weapons, and they'll flaunt it like kids, even if it hurts others. Barton, Tony, sounds like you're talking about America. Tony Stark, nah, just a coincidence. Natasha, I'm more interested in the thing itself. A gap in time and space, hopping between worlds. What's the deal with that, Ancient One? If I had to guess, it's something that can travel across universes, like a cosmic evil god. The Ancient One knows all about those types. She's run into countless ones in her travels, causing chaos and enslaving the locals. Dormammu's a prime example. DC Universe. Diana watched the explanation on the screen. Instigating wars is just disgusting. The action rubbed Diana the wrong way, and she immediately thought of an old nemesis, Ares, the god of war, just like this thing, a jerk who gives people knowledge just to start fights. If I were in that world, I wouldn't let him get away with anything. Diana clenched her fists. Nick Fury, hold on, hopping between universes. Is that like, this screen? Ancient One, you could say that. There are plenty of cosmic demons out there spreading their influence. The one I'm trying to contain in the Red Sea world is just like that. Tony Stark, how do you know so much? Who are you, some kind of super magician? Ancient One, I'll explain later. Buzz. 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 Suddenly, the screen flashed red and buzzed loudly. What the heck is going on? Everyone jumped when the screen started flashing and making that alarm-like noise. Multiple discs are entering the Red Sea world. Several discs have been detected invading your world simultaneously. Please be prepared. The screen issued a grave warning. Everyone was stunned. Bruce Wayne, wait a minute, does this mean a disc showed up in each of our worlds? Usopp, hey. How did this happen? We only had one disc per world before. Now everyone's got one. Strange, exactly. Remember the agent in the log who said he was from a parallel universe? That means multiple universes got these discs. Odin, that creature. It's a cosmic demon, it won't stick to just one universe. Chopper, does that mean the monsters from that world are coming here? Usopp, no. Nick Fury, calm down, they're just discs. Just don't mess with whatever's inside. The screen changed, it split into 7 sections, each showing a different view, with the names of the different worlds labeled below. Use your thoughts to select a world and observe containment procedures in the Red Sea world. Everyone understood the change, they quickly searched for their own worlds. Marvel, Asgard. As soon as Odin switched to the Marvel Universe screen, he saw Thor, Loki, and the Warriors 3 fighting ice giants on a frozen wasteland. That's Jotunheim. Why is Thor there? Why won't he listen to me? Odin was shocked to see Thor causing trouble in Jotunheim. Heimdall. What are you doing? Odin yelled at Heimdall. As the gatekeeper of the Rainbow Bridge, he wasn't supposed to activate it without Odin's permission. I'm sorry, Lord Odin. Heimdall knew he messed up and knelt. Is that damned mirror in that place? If Thor goes in it will be problematic. Odin knew he didn't have time to deal with Heimdall. He focused on the screen and his one eye narrowed. Not good. Soldiers, prepare for an attack. Odin suddenly ordered, like he was heading to war. Lord Odin. Are we going to war? Frigga asked, confused. Not exactly, but just in case. Odin stared intently at the screen. DC Universe. Bruce Wayne immediately switched to the DC Universe screen to find out where the disc appeared. It was inside a department store, empty because it was late at night. On a mirror, a red disc reflected another world. A department store in Gotham City? Thank goodness it's empty. Bruce Wayne was about to head out. Bang! He heard glass shattering and saw a group of thugs from Arkham Asylum barging into the store, smashing things and looking for valuables. Damn it! Why a robbery, and why now? Bruce Wayne felt the urge to curse. For the first time, he wanted to curse criminals. He looked at the group of criminals he was currently apprehending. After making sure a police car was arriving, Bruce Wayne went to the mirror. Beep. The Darkwing bat flew over and Bruce Wayne stood on its back. The bat screeched unhappily. It helped Bruce Wayne fight crime, but he wouldn't let it eat people, and now it was working all night and getting hungry. Just hang on a little longer. I'll get you something tasty when we get back. Bruce Wayne calmed the Darkwing bat. A little scared, he could feel the Darkwing bat's hunger and anger. If he didn't feed it soon, he'd be in trouble. Then Bruce Wayne noticed Diana had sent messages. Diana, is that department store in Gotham City? If I knew, I would have stayed longer and could have come to meet you now. Bruce Wayne, what are you here for? What do you mean you didn't leave so quickly? Were you just here? Diana, that's not the point. The point is the monsters in that world. I don't want them to escape. Chapter 62, Containment of Each World, 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bruce Wayne, hold on, what exactly can you do? Diana, you'll find out when the time is right. After that, Diana went radio silent. Bruce was totally confused, but he couldn't dwell on it. He needed to get to the department store, and fast. Before things got even worse, he'd seen enough to know that disc was huge, embedded in the wall, big enough for whatever monster was on the other side to reach through. And there are plenty of other weirdos like Diana out there, so hopefully, this won't be a disaster. Bruce thought, his worry growing. Dragon Ball universe, Goku and the others were glued to their universe's monitor. Everyone was on edge. The Scions were closing in, and if something like this threw them off course, they could miss their chance to fight or something else could go wrong. The screen showed a castle against a backdrop of swirling yellow clouds. Inside a lavish room, a mirror was affixed with the offending disc. The mirror reflected what looked like the Red Sea world. Whoa, that's Princess Snake's place. Goku recognized the location instantly. He'd even seen the contract building. Goku, that's the castle smack dab in the middle of Snake Way in the other world. I'm on it. Piccolo, it's in the other world. You're our only hope. Handle it ASAP. Tony Stark, wait, other world. You're kidding, right? Is there really an other world? Mordo, of course. In our world, the underworld is hell, another dimension. All souls go there after death. Goku, I don't know about dimensions, but this place feels more like a planet. Mordo, your hell is an alien planet. You go to another planet after death. Interesting. Nick Fury, now's not the time to worry about alternate universes and hell. That stuff is showing up in our world too. Ancient One, relax. That location is Jotunheim, an alien planet. It won't affect us. Someone will take care of it. Odin. Barton, as long as it's not our problem, who are those guys duking it out up there? Aliens. Ancient One, they're ice giants and Asgardians. I believe the one wielding the hammer is Thor. Tony Stark, what? Asgard. Thor. Those guys claiming to be gods. Turns out they're just aliens. Ancient One, well, to humans, superpowered aliens might as well be gods. Odin, Ancient One, we've known each other a long time. You know that's not an accurate description of my people. Ancient One, I know, you're the exception. Natasha, an alien battle. Sounds like my kind of party. Vegeta, looks like a bunch of weaklings. Nothing impressive. Odin, if you ever showed up in my universe, you'd eat those words. Vegeta, Odin shot Vegeta a dirty look, then turned his attention back to the screen, to Thor's ongoing brawl. Why wasn't that bonehead paying attention to the monitor? Could he make more trouble for himself? Why was his son such an airhead? He was his own flesh and blood. Shield. Nick Fury watched the fight between Thor and the ice giants. This was only the second time he'd actually seen aliens. Is this really an alien? Hill swallowed hard. Those Asgardians look similar to humans but are way stronger. Barton was just as shocked. But luckily, It's not on our planet, so we can all relax. No, we can't let our guard down. Who knows if those monsters will try to come to Earth? Nick Fury was on high alert. He was worried about the Red Sea world and these aliens. He had no idea what their intentions toward Earth were. If they were hostile, they could be a serious threat. Their raw power alone was terrifying. Imagine if they had advanced weapons too. What was the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. supposed to do if something went sideways for the entire planet? The more Nick Fury thought about it, the more anxious he felt. He grabbed the phone and called someone. "How's the analysis of that statue coming along?" "I'm sorry, Director. We've tried everything, but we can't figure out what's special about this thing. The material, the molecular structure, it's all just concrete. Keep digging. There has to be something. And dedicate resources to studying the Tesseract." Naruto World, Jiraiya and the others were anxiously watching the screen showing their world. If the disc appeared too far away, it could be a real problem. The image on the screen showed Konoha Village. "It's in the village," they all gasped. The screen zoomed in, showing two familiar faces. It was Kakashi and Guy. Guy was holding the disc in his hand, looking completely baffled. "Kakashi, what do you make of this?" "I have no idea how it got into my hands." "How should I know?" "You probably just stuffed it in your pocket and forgot about it." Kakashi didn't even glance up, his nose buried in his book. "No, I checked all my pockets before leaving, and there was nothing there." "Where did this thing come from?" "Kakashi, take a look." Guy was getting more and more confused. He thrust the disc right in front of Kakashi's face. "Stop interrupting my reading." Kakashi swatted Guy away, annoyed. "Ouch!" Guy lost his balance and crashed into the glass panel beside him. "That hurt." "Serves you right." Kakashi was cut off mid-sentence. Guy definitely hit the glass, but why hadn't he heard it shatter? Confused, Kakashi looked up and saw something unbelievable. Guy was sprawled on the floor, reflected in the glass, but the image showed a place completely different from Konoha. "Guy! Are you okay? What's going on here?" Kakashi was starting to freak out. He'd never seen anything like this. "Huh? Where am I?" Guy, noticing the change in his surroundings, jumped to his feet and rushed back to Kakashi's side, but when he stepped away from the glass, the strange world vanished, leaving only ordinary glass. "Are we seeing things?" Kakashi, still masked, activated his Sharingan and stared at the glass, but couldn't see a thing. Chapter 63 Containment in Respective Worlds 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Weird. Kakashi didn't detect any chakra, so it wasn't ninjutsu or genjutsu. The more he thought about it, the stranger it seemed. When he reached out to touch it, it felt like glass. "Are we hallucinating?" Guy walked up, equally confused, and reached out to touch the glass. The moment he touched it, the scene on the glass shifted to another world, and his hand slipped right through. "Eek!" Startled, Guy yelped and stumbled backward. "What the heck? Am I seeing things?" Guy stared at the mirror, shocked, but the scene was gone. "No, this is more than just an illusion or ninjutsu." Kakashi frowned, scanning their surroundings warily, but nothing happened. Then his eyes landed on the disc in Guy's hand, and he froze. Could the two be connected? "Guy, let me see that disc." "Huh? Why now? It's probably just adult films anyway." Guy handed over the disc, oblivious to the annoyed look in Kakashi's eye. "That's not what I meant." Kakashi snatched the disc, and it instantly turned purple. "Huh?" The sudden color change puzzled Kakashi. He approached the glass again, and the scene shifted once more. This time, it wasn't the strange city, but a desolate grassland. What in the world is going on? This has got to be a joke. Kakashi stared at the disc in disbelief. His Sharingan couldn't decipher anything, which only deepened his confusion. Was this some new kind of enemy invasion? "Guy, we need to alert the higher-ups, get them to investigate this. We could be in serious trouble." Kakashi said gravely. This bizarre phenomenon needed serious attention. with the third Hokage gone and Konoha weakened, manpower was already stretched thin. This was the worst possible time for something like this to happen. Kakashi decided to summon the ANBU immediately to look into it, but when he looked around for Guy, he was gone. Kakashi. Go get backup. I'll be the vanguard. Guy stood in the grassland world on the other side of the glass, grinning. Hey! Guy, what are you doing? Seeing Guy had actually jumped in, Kakashi yelled, alarmed. Kakashi, my gut tells me this place is dangerous and needs immediate investigation. I'll scout ahead. You bring reinforcements. Guy turned to run. Guy. It's too risky. Kakashi shouted, watching Guy's impulsiveness. Youth is all about taking risks. Guy yelled back as he sprinted forward. Kakashi sighed and rubbed his forehead. Idiot. After complaining, Kakashi quickly formed hand seals, slammed his hand on the ground, and summoned his pack of ninja hounds. He sent 4 to find other ninjas and bring them back. The rest were to guard the glass and keep anyone else from going near it. Then, Kakashi stepped into the world and chased after Guy. Naruto and the others panicked. Hey! They went in. What do we do, Erosenin? Naruto looked at Jiraiya, frantic. We can't get back in time. Who knows what's in there, Tsunade said, gritting her teeth. They were too far from Konoha. They couldn't reach it in time, no matter how fast they ran. No. It's not too late, Jiraiya suddenly spoke. He entered sage mode, and an immense chakra began to pour out of him. The power of the Sage of Six Paths will allow me to fly at top speed, even teleport, and return to the village quickly. Jiraiya said, his face grim. He unleashed his chakra, pulling Naruto, Shizune, and Tsunade into the air. Hold on tight. Jiraiya blasted off toward the village. They were moving so fast, he was just a blur. Ayahawk. The unbelievable speed sent them all screaming. One Piece world. Everyone frantically switched screens to find the disc, but the moment they did, they saw the Thousand Sunny. It's on our ship. Usopp, Nami, and Chopper lost it, screaming. The huge monster from the previous screen was burned into their memories. The thought of something like that appearing on their ship was terrifying. It's on our ship. I wonder if I could take down a monster like that if it showed up. Zoro licked his lips, excited. Idiot. Have you actually fought something that scary? Did you even see the screen? That thing was fast. Usopp smacked Zoro on the head to knock some sense into the battle maniac. Now's not the time for that. The question is, where's the disc? Robin cut to the chase, looking around. If we had a small mirror, or we could use the sea as a mirror. Stick it on the water, and those monsters could float in. Hey, can they even swim? Robin's words were surprising. She captured the key point but then suddenly changed the focus. That's not the point, Usopp groaned. Anyway, let's find it, quick. Frankie glanced around, then at the screen. It showed the whole ship, but not where the disc was. It made him anxious. Alright, let's split up and search. Shout when you find it. Sanji cracked his knuckles, ready to move. No need, I've got it. Just as everyone was about to scatter, Luffy spoke, stopping them in their tracks. Huh? The others looked at Luffy, shocked. Luffy held up the red disc, grinning. Where'd you find that? Nami asked quickly. Right here. Luffy pointed to his feet. Everyone was speechless. It was right there, and they missed it. Only the dullest one noticed. Talk about dumb luck. Chapter 64 Containment in Respective Worlds 3. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Navy Headquarters. TCH, how'd they get found so damn fast? I hope they bite the big one in that other world. Akainu grumbled, looking pissed. This is gonna be a headache. If they manage to get themselves leveled up, they'll get a reward. Who knows how strong they'll become? Kizaru's comment hung in the air, silencing the others. Damn it. Why's that punk so lucky? Sengoku glared at Luffy on the screen, fuming. If it wasn't for Garp, he'd have unleashed the demon-slaying order and wiped the Straw Hats off the map. Now, all he could do was hope those guys didn't get too much stronger. Aboard the Thousand Sunny, everyone breathed a sigh of relief now that they had the disc. No more worrying about monsters crawling out of the mirror, hopefully. Yeah. Luffy just kept staring at the disc, lost in thought. Seeing his expression, a cold sweat trickled down everyone's foreheads. Hey, Luffy, what are you thinking? You're not planning on actually going into that world, are you? Usopp's voice trembled a little. He was afraid Luffy would do something crazy. Luffy flashed his signature grin, then turned to face everyone. An unknown world. Huge monsters. Stuff we've never seen before. Doesn't that make you want to go check it out? Luffy was practically vibrating with excitement, his eyes sparkling like stars. He really wanted to dive into that Red Sea world. You've got to be kidding me, Nami exploded, yelling at Luffy. Didn't you see what was on the screen? Have you already forgotten how terrifying those monsters were, and how many there were? What if you die in there? Nami grabbed Luffy by the throat and shook him, he nearly choked. Right? You guys don't actually want to go into that dumb Red Sea world, do you? Nami looked around for backup, but the response wasn't exactly what she was hoping for. Honestly, I'd like to test my skills against some of those beasts. See if I can take M. Zoro said, sounding almost eager. Technology. There's got to be some cutting-edge tech in that world. I'm totally into it. Frankie struck his signature pose, sunglasses doing little to hide his starry-eyed gaze. Hearing those two, Nami felt a vein throbbing in her forehead. Bam! 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 The next second, all three of them had bumps forming on their heads, and they were sprawled out on the ground, dazed. Nami looked like a demon from hell, and the others couldn't help but back away. Listen up. No one is going into that Red Sea world. You wanna die, fine. I don't. Yes, ma'am. Nami had made her point. Even Luffy, as captain, had to cave, despite his reluctance. Okay, let's put this thing away. Nami sighed in relief and reached for the disc, but it was gone from Luffy's hand. Hey! Where did it go? Nami shrieked in shock. Over there, Chopper pointed anxiously. The disc was floating towards a room on its own. That's my room. Stop it, Nami shouted. Everyone else scrambled to use their special abilities to stop the disc from sticking to the mirror. Meanwhile, in another world, Doraemon's world, Shizuka's house. Shizuka was relaxing in a nice, hot bath. After soaking for a while, she finally climbed out and stood in front of the mirror to get dressed. Suddenly, Shizuka noticed something strange about the mirror. It wasn't reflecting her own image, instead, she was seeing a ruined city. Am I imagining things? Shizuka rubbed her eyes, thinking it was her vision playing tricks on her, but when she looked again, the ruins were still there in the mirror. What's going on? Shizuka was increasingly confused. How could this be happening? Before she could figure it out, a huge, disgusting, and ugly face suddenly appeared in the mirror, the unclean one. It was staring at Shizuka through the mirror, as though it had discovered another world. The sudden appearance of the monster scared Shizuka so badly that she screamed. Ho ho ho! The monster responded with a deafening roar, and the terrifying sound waves actually traveled through the glass into the bathroom. Shizuka was blown backward, slamming into the wall before falling into the bathtub. Mom! Shizuka, in pain, quickly got to her feet, trying to run, but when she saw the unclean one's face, she was paralyzed with fear. It was like an unarmed person facing a ferocious beast, without the courage to escape. She could only stand there, frozen, watching the beast approach. Ho ho ho! The unclean one let out a low growl, then moved its head closer to the mirror. Boom! It smashed everything near it, but the mirror itself remained intact. Ho ho ho! The unclean one's roar was filled with frustration. It could clearly see the humans, but it couldn't get to them. This made it very unhappy. Then, the unclean one slowly raised a fist, ready to smash it through the small mirror. Help! That when Shizuka saw this, she thought she was a goner, and she instinctively raised her arms to shield her face. Shizuka! Not just then, Nobita's voice rang out. A pink door had appeared in the bathroom. Nobita and Doraemon rushed out. Seeing the mirror, they raced over and tore the disc off just before the unclean one's fist came down. The mirror instantly returned to normal, and the terrifying unclean one was gone. Huff, huff, finally made it. Doraemon and Nobita said in relief. Nobita, Doraemon, what's going on? Shizuka asked quickly, after seeing the two of them. It's like this. Nobita and Doraemon were about to explain, but when they saw Shizuka's bare body, they were suddenly speechless. Shizuka was confused by their reaction at first, but then it dawned on her and she looked down at herself, her face instantly turning red. Oh! Perverts! Bang, 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 bang. Hey, hey, hey. Nobita and Doraemon were beaten until they fled back home through the anywhere door. They looked a mess, to say the least. Natasha, what are you two up to? Taking advantage of the situation. Diana, how awful to be this kind of person despite being a child. Robin, where's the enemy of women? Chapter 65. 2 worlds contained successfully. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Nobita, no. I didn't mean to, it was an accident. Tony Stark, hey, kid, it's normal to be curious about girls at your age, but keep it PG. You gotta wait, till you're older for that kinda stuff. Jiraiya, exactly. When you're older, you can trade favors for women, naturally. Tsunade, what are you even saying? Tsunade punched Jiraiya as soon as the words left his mouth. Knock it off. We're flying here. The punch nearly threw off Jiraiya's chakra control, almost causing everyone to fall. Just concentrate on the mission and keep your mind out of the gutter. Tsunade snapped, then immediately turned her attention to the screen. Kakashi and Might Guy were already exploring the ruins, and since they hadn't encountered the unclean one yet, she could breathe a little easier. Nick Fury, Stark, watch your mouth. Don't embarrass our universe. Tony Stark, oh, come on, I'm just saying what everyone's thinking. Diana, you strike me as nothing more than a spoiled rich boy. I don't understand what someone like you is even doing in this live stream. Tony Stark, hey, Wonder Woman, if you were in my universe, you'd know how awesome I am. Diana, I'm tempted to run you through with my sword. Tony Stark, aha. Nobita, seriously. I swear I didn't mean to. Nami, oh, really now. Natasha, hey, Nami, you get the disc. Nami, yeah, it took some serious effort and a whole lot of running. One Piece World, aboard the Thousand Sunny, Nami stared at the disc in Robin's hand. Everyone had gone through hell and high water to get their hands on it, they even had to bust through a few walls to snag it. Man, I'm beat. Luffy lay sprawled on the deck, tongue lolling out. Damn, just a stupid disc and it cost me this much effort. Zoro grumbled, clearly annoyed. Our training needs work. Sanji leaned against the wall, exhaling a plume of smoke. A disc is nothing, imagine actually going to that world. So, what do we do with this thing? If it comes loose, it'll go to the mirror and can't be closed at all. Usopp asked, looking worried. Easy, just have someone hold on to it the whole time. Gimme, I'll keep it safe. Luffy immediately jumped up, eager to take the disc. You're thinking of sneaking off with it when we're not looking. Don't even think about it. Nami saw right through Luffy's plan and whacked him to get his attention. This lens probably needs to stay on the mirror to work, so we can make a mirror as small as this and attach it to the disc. Robin said, producing a palm-sized mirror, just big enough for the disc. As soon as they stuck it on, the mirror transformed into a view from another world. They could see some unclean ones lumbering around with their huge arms, looking pretty intimidating. Those monsters are terrifying, and just looking at them is enough to scare me. Usopp recoiled, visibly shaken. Hee, you could just reach in. I wonder if they'd hear me if I yelled. Luffy grinned, leaning closer to the mirror and opening his mouth wide, ready to shout. Don't even think about it. In unison, everyone except Robin piled onto Luffy, holding him down and landing a few good punches and kicks. They almost beat him to a pulp. That thing goes in the safe in my room, and nobody touches it. Otherwise, it's going overboard to feed the fishes. Nami barked the orders, and everyone immediately snapped to attention. Everyone watching the stream couldn't help but laugh at the situation. Nick Fury, is that scary woman your captain? Zoro, nah, she's the navigator. That idiot Luffy's our captain. Patton, no way. The captain's an idiot. Tony Stark, he's just a figurehead to draw attention. Who's really calling the shots? Sanji, nope, he's the real deal. We don't have that kind of ambition. That moron just causes us endless trouble. Strange, why would you let an idiot be your captain? Nami, yeah, he's an idiot, but he's reliable when it counts and he's gotten us through some crazy stuff. Robin, are you sure he didn't cause some of that crazy stuff? Nami, hisses. Nick Fury, what kind of pirate crew is this? I've never seen anything like it. Akainu, whatever kind of pirates they are, they deserve to die. Congratulations, Doraemon World and One Piece World have successfully contained the disc leading to the Red Sea World. Rewards will now be distributed. The announcement boomed from the screen. Some of Doraemon's gadgets have become permanent and indestructible. Nobita has been awarded magic courses from the 2nd to 4th years of Hogwarts. Even before the words finished leaving the screen, Nobita was buried under a mountain of magic books that fell from the sky. Nobita, Doraemon frantically clawed through the pile of books, pulling Nobita out. More magic books. Why can't I just learn magic the easy way? Nobita clutched his head, crying at the sight of the pile. Well, maybe they don't want you to get something for nothing. Doraemon mused. I don't have the time or energy for this, Nobita wailed, burying his face in his hands. How come people in other worlds get it handed to them, but he has to work for it? It's so unfair. Nobita, don't worry, I can slow down time so you have plenty of time to study. Doraemon reassured him with a kind smile. He had just realized that the time-altering gadgets had become permanent. He could use them to his heart's content, giving Nobita all the time he needed to learn. He could create schedules, supervise Nobita, and mold him into an amazing adult. The thought made Doraemon beam. Nobita, on the other hand, remained unconvinced. The world of One Piece, Luffy awakens Nika form, Zoro and Brook get the Zanpakuto, Sanji gets the 8 Gates armor, Nami gets the Sky's dragon-slaying magic, Usopp's slingshot is transformed into a railgun firing principle, Chopper obtained alchemy, Robin obtained the Heavenly Will armor, and Frankie obtained the plasma light cannon blueprint. As soon as the announcement ended, the Straw Hat Pirates underwent a complete transformation. Chapter 66 Rewards for the Straw Hat Pirates. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zanpakuto. Blast Fong, Sauron and Brook were baffled, staring at the weapons that had just materialized in their hands. Never heard of these things, but they could feel a huge power thrumming within them. This has got to be stronger than any ordinary sword. Zoro declared, serious. This blade, it feels dangerous, Brook added, unusually somber. Just holding the blast Fong made his skeletal body tremble. A voice from the screen explained, the Zanpakuto are weapons from another world, forged from powerful souls. They're specifically designed to target the soul. Zoro and Brook's Zanpakuto were crafted to resonate with their individual souls. They hold incredible power and can unleash Shirkai and Bankai. Shirkai requires you to correctly speak the Zanpakuto's name, unlocking its potential. Bankai amplifies the power of the Shirkai 5 to 10-fold. Achieving it demands a deep connection with your Zanpakuto and the strength to dominate it. You must materialize the Zanpakuto and force it to submit. A weapon born from my soul. Zoro muttered, shocked, staring at the strange sword in his hand. Zoro's Zanpakuto is called Azura, and Brook's is Apostle Huangquan. To unlock Shirkai, you must correctly pronounce its name. Azura, he, ha ha ha. Zoro roared, gazing at his Zanpakuto with wild excitement. Suits me perfectly. A sword for a swordsman walking the path of Azura. Let's see what you can do. Yo ho ho. This is thrilling. Apostle Huangquan, what kind of blade are you? Brook chuckled, feeling a surge of power. He could barely resist the urge to draw it and test its limits. The 8 Gates release is a unique ninjutsu from the Naruto world. It unlocks the body's hidden potential, granting power far beyond normal limits. The original drawback was death, but this reward eliminates that. Now it only leads to exhaustion, posing no threat to your life. Sky Dragon Slayer magic is a unique magic specifically designed to fight dragons. It draws power from the sky, allowing you to control all aerial elements for attack, flight, and defense. Its power is amplified the purer the air, so it will be harder to use in polluted conditions. The Heaven's Will armor is a magical suit that can summon an infinite arsenal of swords for close or ranged combat, while also boasting a strong defense. Given that Robin lacks magical power, it will draw on the Heaven's Will armor's magic reserves, which will automatically replenish. The electromagnetic railgun slingshot uses electromagnetism to launch projectiles at incredible speeds, reaching thousands of meters per second. Plasma light cannon blueprints. If you gather the materials listed on this design, you will be able to create artillery capable of reaching millions of degrees Celsius, with the destructive force of a miniature sun. Alchemy uses magic circles to break down and reconstruct matter, creating entirely new objects. It can replace conventional toolmaking. If you have enough raw material, you can make whatever you need, but the objects you create must adhere to the elemental properties of the material. For example, you can't turn iron into water. The screen's information flooded over them, and everyone listened intently, trying to process the enormous wave of new knowledge. Hey, check it out. I can do magic. Nami exclaimed, floating in the air with a look of utter surprise. Sky Dragon Slayer magic uses the power of the sky, right? Perfect for a navigator like me. Nami quickly grasped the principles and effortlessly manipulated the wind around her to fly. Miss Nami. You're a magical girl now. Sanji simped, practically vibrating with excitement. Magic? I feel powerful, but this outfit is a little revealing, Robin commented, looking at herself and the swords floating around her. The Heaven's Will armor wasn't armor in the traditional sense. It was skimpy, accentuating her curves. Whoa! Sanji and Brook, unable to contain their excitement, erupted in nosebleeds before collapsing to the ground, utterly drained. Is this high-tech or what? Super. Usopp and Frankie reveled in their rewards. Usopp's slingshot had morphed into a cutting-edge electromagnetic railgun launcher. The screen's information indicated it could fire any projectile at thousands of meters per second using the power of electromagnetism. Such speeds promised devastating power. Heating hydrogen with a laser to millions of degrees, releasing the energy of a small solar explosion. That's insane. Frankie gaped at the plasma light cannon design. Such a terrifying weapon could obliterate an entire island. Staring at such a terrifying weapon, the two inhaled sharply, their eyes gleaming with starlight. So awesome. This is the ultimate manly fantasy. Usopp and Frankie roared in unison, releasing the tidal wave of excitement building within them. Look! I can conjure stuff out of thin air. Chopper yelled joyously. He slapped the ground with his hooves, and a magic circle appeared, from which a wooden spear materialized. Whoa! What is that? The others exclaimed, stunned. It's called alchemy. Transmuting matter into something else, like forging iron into a sword. You don't need a blacksmith, just clap your hands and bam, magic circle. Chopper's eyes sparkled with delight. With this, he could create any medicine. He just needed the raw materials and wouldn't have to waste time on preparation. He could finally experiment with all sorts of unknown medicines. That's amazing. Is that magic, too? Sanji asked, admiration written across his face. Ah! My body's burning up. Just then, Luffy screamed, grabbing everyone's attention. White smoke billowed from his body as his temperature skyrocketed. Luffy! What's wrong? Chopper shouted anxiously. I don't know. It feels so hot. Luffy groaned, writhing uncomfortably on the ground, unable to control himself. His heart was pounding in his chest, so loud everyone could hear it from meters away. This is crazy. What's happening to Luffy? Nami cried, worried sick. Nika? What the heck is that? Zoro said, desperate to help Luffy but helpless. Suddenly, Luffy threw his head back and howled, startling everyone and drawing their nervous stares. That feels good. Then, Luffy said this and his body began to undergo strange transformations. Chapter 67 The True Face of the Rubber Fruit, Sun God Nika. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hoo ho ho. Thick, white smoke billowed from Luffy's body as he visibly expanded, his hair turning snow-white. The smoke poured out, making it seem like Luffy was melting. Hey! Luffy's melting, Chopper yelled, eyes bugging out. Everyone else was equally shocked, completely clueless about what was happening. Luffy, how are you doing? Nami asked, her voice trembling. I feel like I can do anything. Luffy shouted, waving his hands with a carefree grin. Then, right before everyone's eyes, Luffy launched into the air, doing a couple of celebratory loops. Jaws dropped. What the heck was this? But the spectacle was just beginning. Luffy reached for the sky, his arms stretching out to grab the clouds. He actually pulled them down as if they were solid, twisted them into a rope, and started skipping rope in mid-air. As everyone looked on in utter confusion, the voice from the screen boomed. In reality, there is no rubber fruit. The name is a fabrication, a pseudonym created by the world government out of fear that the fruit's true power would resurface. Its real name is the mythical Zoan human fruit, model, Nika. Nika is a warrior from hundreds of years ago, a figure who rescued slaves. He's revered as the sun god, destined to lead them to freedom. Nika himself was a rubber man, so when someone eats the Nika fruit, they gain rubber abilities. And when awakened, that person can turn anything into rubber and possesses incredible vitality. Luffy's crew was stunned. The Nika fruit? They'd never heard of such a devil fruit. Nika? The real name of the rubber fruit? That's insane. Sanji sputtered, unable to process the information. Their idiot captain was somehow connected to some kind of sun god. The contrast was too much. Luffy's so awesome. Chopper exclaimed, his face beaming with admiration. But why would the world government go to such lengths to hide the name of this fruit? What kind of terrible power does it hold? Usopp wondered, looking bewildered. Hundreds of years ago, could this be connected to the Void Century? Robin mused, her mind already piecing things together. Hey! Luffy! What's going on with you? How are you feeling? Zoro shouted skyward. Amazing! As Luffy spoke, his eyes actually popped out, like something out of a cartoon. And I've awakened other powers too. I can hear everyone's voices and feel your movements. Luffy floated on his back in the sky, a blissful expression on his face. He wasn't looking, but he could sense everything his friends were doing. Then, his arms turned black, and he threw a punch at the sky, creating a massive boom. Finally, black lightning crackled around him, and Conqueror's haki exploded outward in a powerful wave. With the awakening of Nika, Luffy had actually unlocked all three types of haki. Look, I can do this now. Luffy grabbed the Thousand Sunny and began stretching it like putty, twisting it into a bizarre, comical shape. Hey! Stop messing with the ship! Frankie yelled, panicking. Sorry. In other worlds, everyone watching could clearly see what Luffy now looked like. Among them, the Navy headquarters was the most disturbed. Marshal! What the hell is going on? What is this Nika thing? This kid is getting stronger and stronger. Akainu bellowed at Sengoku, his face twisted with fury. Why had the Navy never known about this? I have no idea either, Sengoku said, his eyes wide. He had no idea the rubber fruit had such an origin. It seemed the world government had kept it hidden even from him. Issue the order, the Straw Hats' bounties are to be increased. They're becoming too powerful. They can no longer be underestimated and must be dealt with immediately. Sengoku was breathing heavily, the Straw Hat Pirates' growth had completely exceeded his expectations. They were on track to become the next Yonko, which would be a disaster. Based on the location displayed on the screen, can we pinpoint the Straw Hats' current location? Sengoku barked, staring at the screen. It's obscured by the sea, but if they want to enter the new world, they'll have to pass through the Sabaody archipelago, Kizaru pointed out. Then set up an ambush at the Sabaody archipelago. Don't give them room to grow. Capture them as soon as possible. Sengoku issued his orders swiftly. What about Garp? Akainu asked, concerned about what the Vice Admiral might do if they tried to capture Luffy on such a scale. I'll talk to him. And I'll have Kazan accompany the team. His power will be essential. Sengoku began making arrangements to capture the Straw Hat Pirates without delay. Meanwhile, viewers in other worlds were chiming in. Diana, Sun God. Our Sun God is called Apollo. Nika must be unique to the pirate world, right? Strange, regardless, that ability is bizarre. More funny and cartoonish than outright powerful. Nick Fury, it turns everything it touches into rubber. Are devil fruits that powerful? Shizun, but the 8 gates of Duanjia being rewarded is a huge secret technique. Every gate opened is a heavy burden on the body. They say if you open all 8, you gain immense power, but you're guaranteed to die. Sanji, that's scary. Guess I gotta be careful with that. Tony Stark, I'm more interested in alchemy. As long as the elements are the same and the materials are plentiful, anything can be synthesized. We can invent things we never thought possible and skip all those experimental steps. This is the gospel of technology. Chopper, is it really that powerful? I was thinking of using it to refine medicine. Tony Stark, making medicine is good, but it'd be even more interesting to make armor. Imagine having all the materials you need to create high-tech armor that's impossible to build with real-world tech. Frankie, yeah. My plasma light cannon design is giving me a headache. Maybe with Chopper's alchemy, I can whip it up in no time. Tony Stark, please describe that design in detail. I want to develop that too. Tony Stark looked at the pirate world screen with a tinge of envy. The plasma light cannon was a game-changing weapon. Its power rivaled a nuclear bomb, and its armor was just a laser. Equipping it with a plasma light cannon meant no enemy could stand a chance. Chapter 68 Leo breaks into the Red Sea world and uses Kaio Fist for the first time. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Why don't I ever get a shot at this stuff? I'd be killing it. Tony Stark was seething with envy. All that high-tech gear flashing across the screen, stuff he couldn't even dream of getting his hands on, was really getting under his skin. Compared to that, the new elements his dad cooked up looked pretty bush league. Wong, I'm more interested in the dragon-slaying magic. Magic specifically for dragons? That's intriguing. Thor, you need magic to take down a dragon? Just hit M hard. Odin, Thor. Finally decided to grace us with your presence on the screen. Thor, yeah, just finished mopping up some frost giants. Little winded. Odin, you idiot. Who told you to go stir up trouble over there? Thor, father, if they're gonna come poking around, they gotta pay the piper. Gotta run, see an enemy. Odin, Thor. You fool. Odin glared at the screen, his face turning purple. No matter what he said, Thor wouldn't answer, which was really getting to him. Sir, we've sorted everything out, Heimdall announced, confirming that a ton of Asgardian soldiers were ready to throw down at a moment's notice. Sir, if the army parades through like this, people might think we're about to start a war. Frigga said, her brow furrowed with worry. Nothing for it. As long as that doesn't come out, we won't do anything. With that, Odin waved his hand and led the Asgardian warriors toward the Rainbow Bridge. The Peanut Gallery and other worlds watched Odin and Thor's dysfunctional father-son chat, unsure what to make of it. Best to stay out of other people's family drama. Meanwhile, back in Leo world, something crazy was going down at the sports center. All the mirrors in the club were suddenly showing the Red Sea world. Oyama Shoji immediately hustled everyone out of the club to avoid getting caught in the crossfire. Then the Mac team's jet came screaming in, and Zhu Hashiden, Feng Yuan, and the rest of the crew jumped out. Captain Morihoshi, you gotta handle this. The mirrors suddenly went haywire, and we saw some huge monster lumbering around. How are we supposed to teach classes with this going on? Oyama Shoji said, clearly freaking out. Don't worry, we'll take care of it. Zhu Hashiden reassured him, then led the team into the sports club. As soon as they stepped inside, they were staring face to face with a massive monster leering at them through the mirror. The team members jumped back, instinctively reaching for their pistols. Wait! Don't shoot! Seeing this, Zhu Hashiden quickly stopped them. But even without gunfire, the unclean one had spotted them and roared in rage. Who knows what that rage meant? Maybe it was pure, unadulterated hatred for humans. The unclean one raised its giant fist and stretched its fingers toward their world. Its thick fingers were able to poke through the mirror, which made the whole building shake like crazy. Cracks snaked across the surrounding walls, making it look like the whole place was about to collapse. Get out of here, now! Zhu Hashiden barked, ordering everyone to retreat. As Zhu Hashiden was about to leave, his cane got caught, throwing him off balance. The violent shaking caused him to lose his footing and tumble to the ground. If he didn't move fast, the unclean one's massive fingers were about to grab him. Captain! Seeing that the captain was about to get snatched, Feng Yuan bolted over and shoved him out of the way with all his might. But in doing so, he missed his own chance to escape and got snagged by the unclean one's fingers. Hoo ho ho! Feeling something in its grasp, the unclean one stopped its hand and instantly yanked Feng Yuan into the Red Sea world. Feng Yuan, when the other team members saw Feng Yuan disappear into the mirror world, they rushed forward to try and save him. Boom! But at that moment, the sports club couldn't take any more of the unclean one's abuse and began to crumble, blocking their way. Get out of here, now! Captain! It's Feng Yuan. He'll be alright. Zhu Hashiden frantically pushed people away, praying that Feng Yuan would be okay. Meanwhile, Feng Yuan had been dragged into the Red Sea world. The unclean one gave him a hard flick, sending Feng Yuan flying through the air, then opened its mouth, ready to gobble him up. Leo! At the last possible second, Feng Yuan raised his right hand, revealing the lion's pupil ring, and transformed into Ultraman Leo. As soon as Leo appeared, he unleashed a flying kick right to the unclean one's head, sending it crashing to the ground. Even though the unclean one was way bigger than Leo, it couldn't withstand Leo's incredible strength. Leo landed gracefully, took a fighting stance, and glared at the unclean one as it struggled to its feet. Then, he leaped into the air again, ready to unleash his signature move, the Leo flying kick. Gathering all his power, bathed in red light, Leo hammered the unclean one right in the chest, blasting its body into a million pieces. Humph! Leo struck a heroic pose, satisfied that he'd taken down the unclean one. Whirring! Suddenly, a deafening roar filled the air. Dozens of unclean figures were rushing toward Leo at breakneck speed. So fast, Leo gasped, shocked by their incredible speed, and immediately took to the air to avoid being surrounded, but these unclean ones weren't messing around. They saw Leo fly and leaped up after him, getting dangerously close. Boo! Thinking fast, Leo blasted them with a powerful laser, knocking the group of unclean ones back down to earth. The 100-meter-tall unclean ones crashed to the ground, creating a shockwave like a major earthquake, causing the surrounding buildings to collapse. Leo panicked. If the entrance to the Red Sea world got destroyed because of this, he'd be in deep trouble. Luckily, even though the mirror was cracked, he could still see the world on the other side. Just as Leo was about to fly over, the group of unclean ones stood up again. The holes that had been blasted by the lasers were healing at an alarming rate, as if they weren't expending any energy at all. Damn it, I've got to obliterate them completely. Leo clenched his fists. The mirror was right beneath these unclean ones. If he didn't take them out, there was no way out of here. Boom, boom. Heavy footsteps echoed around him as more and more unclean ones emerged from the shadows, closing in fast. Quick win, Leo thought to himself, focusing his energy. Kaio Fist. The next second, Leo unleashed a mighty roar and activated his new signature technique, the Kaio Fist. Incredible power surged through his body, causing his muscles to bulge and swell. Let's see how you like being on the receiving end of the Kaio Fist. Chapter 69 Leo Flying Kick with 10 times Kaioken. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Triple Kaioken. Leo roared, his energy tripling, causing his muscles to bulge. Supercharged with the triple Kaioken, Leo's strength was now 3 times what it was. Feeling the surge of power, Leo felt amazing. Boosting his strength this easily meant he could take on any tough enemy down the road. He wasn't about to get complacent because of the Kaioken, though. 3 times isn't too much of a strain for me. After running the numbers, Leo eyed the unclean one leaping up at him and teleported away. He reappeared on the ground. Alright. Leo unloaded a flurry of punches and kicks on the unclean ones nearby, taking them by surprise and sending them flying. With the triple Kaioken coursing through him, Leo's strikes were devastating. A single, full-power punch could make an unclean one explode. Against the magma people, this would have been an instant kill, but these unclean ones were freakishly resilient. Unless completely obliterated, they'd keep regenerating and getting back on their feet. Leo didn't chase them. Instead, he grabbed the glass shards linking him to his world. Hoo. More and more unclean ones surged forward, their faces twisted in rage, trying to get at Leo. Seeing this, Leo rocketed into the air, dodging the mob. He thought he'd catch a breather up there, but the unclean ones switched tactics. They started leaping on top of each other, using their buddies as platforms to reach him. Take this. Leo focused his energy on his timer, blasting a beam of intense light at the approaching unclean ones. The timer beam was a basic Ultraman move, usually just dealing partial damage, but supercharged by the triple Kaioken. The beam tore through most of the unclean ones, sending them crashing back to the ground. Using the recoil from the timer beam, Leo soared higher, putting even more distance between himself and the creatures. By now, the unclean ones were piling up on the ground, roughly 50, at a quick count. So many at once. There are like 7 billion people on Earth. What if they all turned into monsters like this? The thought sent a shiver down Leo's spine. Luckily, they couldn't get into space. Otherwise, a monster army this big could wipe out every living planet in the universe. You were once humans. I'm sorry. If I was in your world, maybe I could help. The only thing I can do now is set you free. Leo's energy began to shift, rapidly increasing, and he was enveloped in a fiery red aura. 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, still not my limit. 10 times, let's go. 10 times Kaioken. Leo instantly cranked the Kaioken up to 10 times, the energy became unbelievably powerful, the air around him crackled and shook as his energy erupted like a volcano. The unclean ones, about to pounce, froze, sensing Leo's overwhelming power. Fear flickered in their ugly eyes. 10 times, is that my limit? My body feels heavy. Leo felt like his body was being pushed to the breaking point, like he'd just finished a brutal workout. Looks like 10 times is it. Gotta end this fast. Leo somersaulted in the air, channeling all his strength into his feet. He was going to concentrate 10 times the power of the Kaioken into a single, devastating Leo kick. Ha! Leo transformed into a blazing red comet, hurtling towards the ground. The impact unleashed a blinding red light and a deafening explosion. A terrifying mushroom cloud billowed upwards. The ground trembled, cracked, and collapsed as far as the eye could see. From space, the Earth looked like it was convulsing. The unclean ones at ground zero were instantly vaporized by Leo's 10 times powered kick. The ones on the periphery were crushed by the shockwave. Only the outermost few managed to survive. Leo landed, exhausted, the timer on his chest flashing rapidly. He felt completely drained, barely able to stand. Maybe a little overboard. Leo gasped, but a hint of satisfaction colored his tone. This kind of power made him fearless. With his remaining energy, Leo shrank himself, flew into the glass shards, and returned to his world. The sheer power he'd unleashed had stunned everyone watching from other worlds. Piccolo, that power is terrifying. Is that the Kaioken? Diana, it's unbelievable. That could destroy a world. Diana and Piccolo were both unnerved. They'd thought they were hot stuff, but Leo's display shattered their confidence. If they were to face an attack like that, they'd be annihilated. But these were proud warriors. Instead of getting discouraged, Leo's show of strength motivated them to push their limits. Marvel, Camartage, the magic apprentices were speechless. Master Ancient One, could you withstand that attack? Mordo asked, his face grim. I could resist, but it would come at a great cost. Ancient One sighed. To counter Leo's kick, she would need to draw on the power of a demon god, with serious consequences. Fortunately, he's protecting Earth. If he was an enemy, it would be a problem. If he were in our world, he would be an ally. Ancient One couldn't help but think that someone as powerful as Leo could be a huge asset. Bruce Wayne, Mr. Star Clusters, could the gunters you obtain stand up to Leo? Zhu Xingtuan, if it is so powerful, I'm afraid it won't work. What's wrong? Chapter 70 Sun Wukong trains the unclean. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bruce Wayne, then be prepared. Even though Leo's on your team, if he does anything to harm the Earth, there'll be consequences. Nobita, come on, uncle. Leo's a hero. He'd never hurt the Earth. Bruce Wayne, kid, you're still young. People change. Even if Leo doesn't turn evil, what if he gets brainwashed by aliens, or can't control his powers and causes destruction? Nobita. Warring states, I have to agree with Bruce Wayne. You can't control what's in someone's heart, especially Piccolo, especially if they're not from Earth, right? Figures. Typical human thinking. Bruce Wayne, think what you want. I just believe that powerful forces need to be kept in check. Bruce Wayne knew he was right. He'd seen too many good people go bad. In a place like Gotham, how many people could stay true to their ideals besides him? So, whether they're Earthlings or aliens, if they're too powerful, they need to be controlled, and a plan needs to be in place if they become enemies. In Bruce Wayne's view, it would be best if Leo and the Star Clusters could act as checks and balances on each other. As for the Dragon Ball universe folks, since they're not from the same universe, there's not much he can do about it. His priority is dealing with the Red Sea Disc on his side. Meanwhile, in the Leo universe, Zhu Hashiden was listening intently to Bruce Wayne's concerns. He's right. Some aliens can control minds. We need to start targeted training for that. The Star Clusters murmured, deep in thought. Team leader, Feng Yuan's voice interrupted Zhek Xingchuan's thoughts. Feng Yuan crawled out of the stone, looking exhausted, but he smiled and held up the Red Sea Disc. Feng Yuan, seeing that Feng Yuan was safe, the team members helped him out. The Red Sea Disc in the Leo world has been successfully contained. Feng Yuan is rewarded with unlimited energy. Ultraman energy is limited, especially on Earth, where activity time is drastically reduced to 3 minutes. This reward will make Ultraman Leo's energy unlimited, but it will still strain the body. As the voice finished, Feng Yuan's lion ring flashed. He looked at the ring, confused. He actually got unlimited energy. This was huge. Unlike other Ultraman, Leo barely had 3 minutes to fight. Now, with unlimited energy, there was no time limit. He could fight as long as he needed to. Feng Yuan couldn't help but laugh. Feng Yuan, you okay? Why are you laughing? You're beat up. His teammates were confused by Feng Yuan's reaction. No, everything's fine. Feng Yuan shook his head, but couldn't stop grinning. The Star Clusters nearby shook their heads, amused. Suddenly, a message popped up on the screen from Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong, hey Fengyuan, I felt a huge power surge a while ago. That was you, wasn't it? You can use the Kaio Fist times 10. I can barely manage twice. I need to train harder. Piccolo, Goku, what are you doing? Fighting. Sun Wukong, yeah. I'm fighting these unclean things. They're perfect practice partners. Tony Stark, practicing. Sun Wukong, yeah. Piccolo and the others are stronger than me now. If I go back to Earth, I'll just be a liability. I need to get stronger, fast. Piccolo, it's not like you to admit you'd be a liability, but you're probably right. Keep practicing, and I'll take care of the scions. Sun Wukong, Dad, do your best. Nick Fury, this is too risky. What if something goes wrong? Sun Wukong, don't worry. I got this. Gotta go. Sun Wukong was currently fighting the unclean ones in the Red Sea world. As soon as he arrived at Snake Girl's castle, he saw the unclean man's fingers sticking out of the mirror and grabbing Snake Girl into it. Luckily, he arrived in time to save her. Even though she tried to eat him before, the good-natured Sun Wukong didn't hold it against her. Kaio Fist, double Kamehameha. Sun Wukong powered up to double Kaio Fist and blasted the two unclean ones with a Kamehameha, obliterating their brains, but then, another unclean one leaped from the side and knocked him to the ground. Man, there are a lot of them. Sun Wukong stood up, bruised and battered, and looked around at the growing horde of unclean ones. He'd made it sound so cool, talking about practicing, but he was getting his butt kicked. There were just too many of them, and each one was as strong as he was. If I could manage 10 times like Leo, maybe I should try 3. Son Goku prepared to use triple Kaioken. No. Wukong, that's too dangerous. King Kai's voice echoed in Sun Wukong's mind. Sun Wukong, distracted for a moment, dodged the unclean ones while talking to the king. I don't know where these monsters came from, but they can't survive in our world. You need to come back now. Ko shouted urgently. King Kai, I know, but I need to get stronger. If I run into more trouble later, it'll be bad. Sun Wukong glanced at the unclean ones closing in, closed his eyes, and raised his hands. Sun Fist. A blinding flash of light erupted, forcing the unclean ones to shield their eyes. Sun Wukong used the opportunity to fly away. But you'll die if you keep pushing yourself. The Dragon Balls already resurrected you once. They can't do it again. King Kai reminded him of the crucial point: if Sun Wukong died here, he'd be gone for good, lost in another world. There was no guarantee his soul would even survive. Don't worry, I won't die. I'm fired up. Sun Wukong was motivated to fight. He had no intention of backing down, even against so many unclean ones. The Scion blood was boiling. Quadruple Kaio Fist. Sun Wukong directly challenged quadruple Kaioken. Leo's tenfold Kaioken had inspired him, and he needed to become stronger.